Okay, good evening, everyone. We're continuing with 4 minutes of Mishlei. We are up to Perek Zion, chapter 7 in Mishlei. And in this Perek, a father sits down with his son, and it almost could be imagined as a contemporary example of a father giving his son just good advice, and not to make the mistake that many foolish young men make by chasing after a Isha Zara, a seductive woman, a woman who has no interest in settling down, but just to trick you and to seduce you. Now, some of Farshim explains to mean Sfarim Chitonim, or other kinds of heretical ideas. Others talk about Avodah Zarah, but just a simple explanation of the Psukim, I think, is very, very powerful and very contemporary. So let's read the Psukim together, and then I'll share with you something very interesting. He says, the father says to his son, he says, Ki b'chalon beisi ba'ad ish nabi nishkafti, that I've looked out of the window of my house through the cracks, and I've looked out and I've seen va'ireh b'psa'im avina b'vanim na'ar chaser lev. I've saw amongst the simple and the young, foolish youths, like young kids who don't have any sense. What do? They're going in the shuk, they're going on the street corner, and there's this woman who's there late at night. Vihine isha lekraso, and a woman calls to them. She sona unutseres lev. She's dressed like a harlot with a set purpose in her mind. And then what happens? He gives one example, an example that could be very, again, like you can imagine this happening just today. And she lures one of them in at a corner. The hechsika bo, and she grabs hold of this young man. The nashkalo, she actually kisses him. He'ezah paneh v'tomerlo, she brazenly turns her face to him and says something very interesting. Zivche shalomim alai. I had a korban and I sacrificed this korban today. I fulfilled my shilamti nadarai. I fulfilled my vow. So I'm going to return to this in a second. Why is she talking about fulfilling a vow and having some karbanos? But she says, "Come home with me. I've marvadim ravati arsi. I have beautiful couches. We can lie on the couches." And she basically says, "Come and spend the night with me. Don't worry. Ke'in ha'ish beveso. My husband is not at home. It's going to be a long time before he comes home. B'derach mirachok." So this is something that I think many people, have been seduced, or we could say that it's a foolish thing to do. But it's unfortunate that there are many people who fall prey to this type of behavior in many different areas, whether it's heretical ideas or if it's a literal woman. So there's something that we need to be aware of. But there's something interesting that the Malbim points out. What is this zivche shlomim that she says that she has this karbanos, these fulfillment of her nedarim? So the Malbim points out something very interesting. She's really saying to him, I have this great meal at home. I have this fleish meal, and you'll come, we'll eat it together, we'll spend time together. But more than that, she's saying it's a sudas mitzvah. And the Malbim says that this is a lesson for us, because hayitzahara maschil b'mitzvah. Whenever someone goes down the wrong path, they don't usually just decide out of the blue to go and to do something wrong. Usually it starts off with some justification, some mitzvah that they're going. And she's saying, come on, let's eat this sudas mitzvah of the shlamim. Others point out that there's a timeline when you have to eat kachim by. You have a day or 2 days, depending on what karbonos it is, and because there is a time limit, she's saying you have to make this decision right now. We have to eat it, and as many of us know, whenever someone tries to make you make a decision right then and right there, it often leads to a mistake. It reminds me of a story, a song that tells a story of another father and son conversation. It's called Father and Son, and I just quote the lyrics. It really, I think, depicts this very beautifully. The father says, I was once like you are now, and I know that it's not easy to be calm when you found something going on, and take your time, think a lot, think of everything you've got, for you will still be here tomorrow, but your dreams may not. In other words, the father's saying, you have these great dreams, you have this vision, maybe you have an idea, maybe you've seen something, and you're drawn after it, but take your time, think about it. Really spend time to analyze, because oftentimes when you have to make a decision in the heat of a moment, you make the wrong decision, and you'll be here tomorrow, but your dreams may not.